Okay, hi there. So here's what Eric was talking about if anyone's wondering on how to do like PowerPoint sizing and how the method that most people do in the design program on how to like basically make an easy low size PowerPoint. The He was talking about size. So the ratio that we use is 4:3, and so that's just talking about the ratio of your image. So the easiest way to like make sure that your size is correct, if you just go create new, come on, and it'll pop up with like this screen. So basically, we already talked about how he said he wanted 10 inches by 7.5. So go over here where it says pixels, click inches. You want your resolution, remember you said to be 150. Your height, 7.5. And your width is going to be 10. Create. And so over here, you can like drag in all your images and stuff like that. And so what's going to happen very likely is you're going to put in a bunch of images. I'm going to show you real quick. Say, for instance, there's also another way to do it if you would like to. So here, File, Open, and then this PC, we're going to go to a hard drive. And then here, what do I have in here? It's all lame. What do I have in here? Ooh, oof. Okay, here we'll get here's a paint rendering. So, you got this paint rendering. It is very clearly it's not the right size. So one of the things you can do, you've opened it, go to image, canvas size. And so one of the things, actually, sorry, I was a step out of myself. So for your image, go to image size. You want to make sure that you're in 150 pixels an inch. So you hit OK. Then, see it blew it up and made it all big and stuff. So if you go to canvas size, there you go. You want it to be in inches. And here's where you can say, I want my width to be 10. I want my height to be 7.5. And then it'll say that, and you proceed. So notice, like, say, you're doing a slide and you add in probably a whole bunch of, like, text. So it's going to be like, slide 1. Then you'll probably have in some more text. You want to make sure that you're like, oh, this is good. You've got a good font. Eric really loves fonts, so he's really picky on fonts. So when that's good, click off of it, put in another one, then description of image. And say you want to get a little artsy with your background, and you put in like a little solid color right there. So let's make it red. We're feeling feisty. Then we'll turn the opacity down, whatever. I'm playing around. This isn't super important. It's just to give you an example. Basically, the only reason I did that is to show you that, the more you add in, it creates all these layers right here. And so that's what's going to give the image a lot of like data, and it's what's going to make it like very large file size. So one of the things he was talking about when he was doing that is you want to go over here once you've like made your slide, you're super happy with it, file, save as, and all that business, and then open it again and save it under like a different name. And once you've done that, go to layer, and this is pretty important, you want to make sure you click flatten image, because if you do merge visible, it's going to merge all those layers, but it's still going to keep all the data from it. When you flatten it, it just flattens it down into one layer with one amount of data from it. So you go flatten image, there you go. Now you only have one thing, so if you wanted to, you could no longer move this text and stuff like that. So like that's a final last thing you do, you're super happy with it. But once you've done that, so just one last double check, go to your image size, totally in the right size, then go to file, and then save as. And so this is only for this project. You want to make sure that you save as a JPEG. And we're just going to go to desktop. Don't look at that old terrible design work. That's one I tried earlier, but it didn't record. Nice job. And so then, we're going to call this Abigail's slide 1. You want to make sure what's important here is you save it as a JPEG. And so when you save it as a JPEG, it's going to compress it and make it smaller. So if you were going to like print this out, you would want to save it as a PDF. But for right now, it's good enough for a JPEG for presentations because projectors give you a little bit more leeway. So you hit save. I always go 12. I think it's worth it because I took an image whenever I originally did it. I didn't check the file size, but it was easily like 3-4 MB, just one image. Now it's knocked all the image, the text, the color layer over it down to 674 gigabytes, which is not bad. So you hit OK, and so like that's your slide. It's formatted correctly, it's in the right size. So then you go over to PowerPoint. Go to the blank presentation. First thing you do, delete these. You don't need them because any text that you put in here, if someone else has a different version of PowerPoint, or if you used a font that they don't have, it's going to mess up all of your formatting and it's just going to look really bad. So one of the first things you need to go into is go into design, slide size, and that's what he was saying when he said 4:3. You want to go, I can't remember which one's important, but it honestly doesn't matter for what we're doing. So now you're in the right ratio. And so that slide that we just did, what's nice is that now it's the correct size for the slide. So actually I got ahead of myself. Here's something that you'll want to do that people will not tell you. Go in, make sure your slide background is black, and then make sure you put in one blank slide beforehand. So then, when you do this, again, delete that. That's terrible. You don't need this, and it can only mess up your presentation. That way, your first slide can go here. So when you start your presentation, it'll open on a black screen, and whenever you're ready to actually present, you go onto your first slide. And so you just keep doing that, and then when you're done with it, one of the things he said about PPSX, so what that means is, say, hey, look, I'm just going to present on this one slide because I'm super proud of it, so I'm going to copy, then I'm just going to paste. So then whenever you go to it, eventually you're going to want to say file, and then just real quick so we know that we're progressing, I'm going to do that to it. File, save as, SVC, and we'll just do desktop on this one. So then, presentation 1, Abigail's presentation. So then normally, you see people whenever you the whole clunky business of seeing people open up a PowerPoint presentation. So PPSX, what that actually translates to, go to PowerPoint and save it as a PowerPoint show, which is right here. And so then when you save it as that, that's done. So then let's see if we got it on there. Yep. So here, watch what happens whenever I open it up. Instead of it just opening up to a PowerPoint slide. You would know this if you saw my other monitor. It just opens straight up into a show. And so you can just, that way you don't have to click the whole start presentation. But that's what he's talking about, file size reduction like that. And if you have any other questions, I can Zoom you later on in the week if you would like, because I know that first presentations are always super stressful. Okay, and that should do it. There you go.